eaves.
Big ranch style home. Check it out. And that's over 100 feet across the back. I put enamel on here. That's what's on it now, so that's what they wanted. I don't usually put enamel on stucco, but you guys know, since it's already on there, you can see the sheen in it. Ain't gonna hurt it. So anyway, that's the color there. We'll see how that looks. Who knows? That's what they want. That's all gonna get primed there. Well, that all is actually. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wire brush off all this stuff here and get started painting. Especially on these old houses, we like to trench down a little bit. These are the non-Weepscrete house, but what's good is this one has the siding on this side of the house. So this is what we got so far. One of our guys is down right now. His ran into some knucklehead with no lights on driving a car and his motorcycle, so he's all jacked up. So we got that problem. So enamel, we're using a 515 still. You know, it is like painting a big garage door when you paint enamel like this on the stucco. So you know, you can't do the stuff you do with flat. You gotta really be on your game, shoot it on nice and even. And on this siding, we went ahead and back rolled it because there's some stuff down at the bottom that, you know, it's been 20 years since they painted this, I think. But this is the north side facing, so it's not, didn't get that much other than the last few feet. So that's all painted there. Of course, everything that's raw wood, you got to prime it, and we did all that. Anything raw, enamel, unless you get the Home Depot so-called paint and primer, that stuff's it's no better than anything else really. That Vista's paints always really have good adhesion, so yeah. See how much more overspray there is on here because of the finer spray from the enamel. It turned out really good so far. This is 4 hours with 2 guys right here. We masked all this and did all this 4 hours. So all the way to the corner. That's 100 and this is 100, and to the far corner over there is 120 feet. So this is a big house. It's a lot bigger than it might look. So you think 50's home, it's not gonna be that big. This house is really big. I don't know how big that is, but so we got another 150 feet, the backside wall, because it goes out and then goes in and over that way. So it's all new siding. So probably have to hit that all twice. But at least you don't have to ladder back there. All this has to be laddered because it's 9'6" probably to the top there. And then all this spray mark will go away. You can see, we'll get worried about that stuff while it's drying. In fact, this tip is kind of crap. It's got a little stripe in it, but it doesn't show up when it's dry. You guys saw the part that's dry. There is no spray mark in there. So, got to know when to worry about it, when not to. If it's a runny looking thing, it'll show up. On smooth stucco or on this smooth siding, it might show up. If it was a little bit like a runny edge. This is velvet sheen, almost a near flat. So anyway, all right, I'll bring you back in. Maybe we'll do some spraying later. All right, guys, just enamel. It's a little harder to spray than flat, but this is not my spray gun. I don't use that, no. But if you notice, there's a lot more fallout from the reversa tip. A little tighter with the flat tip, guys. Ooh, caca, I'm gonna have to fix that. I'll come back and get it later. This isn't my spray gun. This isn't my, just helping a friend out. It's hard to make sure I'm getting it in frame and spray at the same time. We're definitely gonna have some spots to fix here. Get a little creative there. Gotta get some primer on that. So bring you back in. Use Bondo to fill these. No, just caulking, and let them dip a little bit on the outside. And they turn out like that. That's okay. You can see them, but it looks a lot better than this, right? Because that really, the nail guy should have used a smaller nail. Shouldn't be using those kind of big old things on there. He should be using brads or something way smaller. You know, it's just no good. But if you have a holes like that, don't use Bondo. It's going to just fall out of there, just like any other filler. If you use anything, it takes about 10 years, maybe at the most, but sometimes sooner than that, and then it crystallizes and comes out of there. But if you use caulking, it's going to stay in there for solid, for as long as the paint job is, at least, and then some, probably longer, 30-40 years. So yeah, because it'll adhere better inside there. Okay, so yeah, you get a little bit of a dip by like that, but it turns out a lot better if you just use caulking. Even though, you know, like guys will like trying to use Bondo and sand it smooth and everything else. Bondo in the sun, the weather, on something like that, it's going to crystallize, and it's going to get so hard it's going to pop out of there. So no good. Yeah, a lot of guys would just spend all this time with Bondo, and a couple years later, after they're gone, they don't even know it. So I've gone back and seen it afterwards, and stuff's falling out, issues, swelling up. Caulking ain't gonna do that. It'll just, 20 years later, it'll look just like it does when you're done. A little dip, not bad. So we got a lot to do still. Bring you guys back in a little bit. I won't be here for the whole job, but I'm just gonna film a little bit of it while I'm here. All right, Travis is showing us the low overspray tip from Graco. This is a reversa tip. They're low overspray. If you notice, there's about half of the normal. I mean, we're using a pole. You know, usually you get a lot more overspray than this with enamel. I've been spraying everything with a 515 brand new regular tip. And this is a 517, and that's not raw wood, by the way. That's all primed, but the primer's kind of yellowed out. But yeah, so that's enamel. That's it's like satin. It's almost the same. It covers so good, goes on real nice with that tip. Gonna have to spray downward on that. But you can see that that's a 517 spray enamel. You ain't doing that with a regular tip. It's gonna make a lot of overspray, especially with a pole. Got a little drippage going on, so we got to drop down. So anyway, that's where we're at, guys. Check it out, pretty neat. With flat tips, you get a little less overspray. With these, a little, maybe a little less. And the thing that's kind of cool is if you're using a pole and you have one of these reversa tip with the low overspray, you can put a bigger tip on for doing patio covers and go a little faster. You know, I hardly ever use poles, guys. I only use them when you need it. And look, see how high this is? When you have a high surface like that, you need a pole, really, to save yourself some time. We got one more right here, Travis, on this we missed right here. We missed that one. So look at that, it just covers. It's a really good coverage on that low overspray tip. I like it. Definitely, I know they're a little more expensive than the regular tip, but it'd be a good thing to have in your toolbox for doing this sort of thing. You can see a little bit of dust going, but we're spraying enamel, and that furniture is not, you know, it's not customers. They're not putting it back in the house or anything, so it's just junk. They're throwing it away, so that's why we're not worried about that. And the dust going that way is just very, very fine. In fact, I hardly have anything on my face. I've got dust on my face, and there's no stuck overspray. There's none in your eyes. You're spraying enamel. I mean, like a satin. It's not flat. They wanted everything. We're doing the whole house with it's called Velveteen from Vista Paint, which is basically a satin. It's almost the same. All right, guys, here's the eaves. I've been spraying these with a 211, and the reason I'm using such a small tip is because the round ends, and I don't want to blow paint over the roof. Okay, that's a no-no. You don't do that. So we're using tape alone down here further. We had some paper, but there's just too much wind for it here on the top. You can use a shield, but I'm trying to get the back side of that flashing, because it just doesn't look good. Through the windows from the house, when you look out, you can see the back flashing, and you don't want that to look bad. And the other thing is on these ranch style rafters, getting the ends of them real nice. Smaller tip, you can kind of work your way around it with enamel. Now, if I was using flat, I would use a bigger tip for sure. You know, for sure I'd use a much bigger tip. Really hard to spray all that stuff with flat all around the edges, but you know, it's a little easier to control. You can get it a little bit fatter, and it doesn't look bad. Enamel doesn't look good when it's got fatties. I think this is how this looks after we dried. We shot this with that tip, you guys, that yellow yellow tip. It's called the low overspray tip from I really don't like this gun, but this way you can just kind of go over everything a few times or whatever. Get it to come out real nice. Alright, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Please like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the content.